do. Keep Kier Starmer is the title of this video. I actually think the country is better off with Kier Starmer. Yeah? You don't like that one. At the end of the day, look at the other options here. Number one is Starmer goes tomorrow to the King and calls an election, which would result in a reform landslide. What would happen then? Would the economy would crash and reform would get the blame? Any of you thinking that all the problems we have at the moment are Kier Starmer's fault? You're even nuttier than I am. And I'm not exactly kind of like Mr. Even Keel. Do you know what I mean? If you think Kier Starmer is to blame for the problems that we are in at the moment, then you are nuts. While he is part of the system which has brought this situation about, he was part of New Labour. He was, a human rights lawyer. But you idiots, I mean, I almost got into it with someone on the train about this. He said, I voted Labour, I regret it. And I said, well, what about good old Tommy? Do you know what I mean? And I said, all I said was that, and I agree with Tommy Robinson on this. What has Tommy Robinson said that is racist? Find me it, clip it, and send me the link. Go ahead. I think Tommy Robinson is a very strange character. I certainly don't endorse him, but I don't have anything massively against him. I mean, Doctor Who is Dr. David Mackworth of Speaker's Corner, the one left basically standing up to the monster Bob, he said that Tommy Robinson is actually a national hero. And I think that unless we had Musk actively started getting involved in our politics, I don't really see a way forward, which is why I think that Rupert Lowe and maybe Ben Habib need to do some talking. The problem you've got is that if Starmer calls an election tomorrow, reform will get in and the economy will crash and the volatile British electorate will blame reform. The other thing is, and I bet people haven't actually thought about this, look at what's going on in America. I haven't been paying that much attention to British politics lately, but, well, I have actually, but I've also been paying close attention to what's been going on in Minneapolis. If you think Farage is going to get in and it's all going to be tea and, tea and Miss Marple, forget it. The leftists will have an effing meltdown. Do the maths. Zach Polanski, that's not even his real name. James is my real name. Yeah? Zach Polanski, who's probably got some boring Southern county's name, he has got 18%. Add that to the, Liberal Democrats 12. For any Tommy Robinson supporters, that's 30%. Reform are peaking out on about 34, 35. To get a decent majority in the House of Commons used to take over 40%. You've got to remember that John Major got a bigger share of the popular vote than Margaret Thatcher, yet only a 12-seat majority. People don't understand 12 past the post. The other thing which essentially the Thatcherite era ushered in was the Liberal Democrats. I mean, what exactly is a Liberal Democrat? I mean, they did the right thing in 2010, but the only thing which they did in 2010 was they prevented the Conservative Party from actually taking the corrective action which needed taking on the economy at the time. I mean, if you think that's austerity, think again with what's coming. And Farage is correct. The markets will force that. It forced it on the Labour government in 76. They will force it on the government again. And what Farage is trying to do is he's trying to go, the shit will hit the fan on Labour. Well, you see, if Starmer, because he's a slippery scumbag. I mean, I'm remembering that the default position is we're better off with Starmer. If Starmer calls an election, then basically the Labour Party will reform under a serious nut job and they will get back in power because our electorate is volatile. So hear me out. We're better off with Starmer. I mean, can you imagine if David Lammy becomes Prime Minister? I mean, by that time, my last penny will be out of the country. I'll be buying a retirement home in Nepal. Can you imagine if David Lammy becomes Prime Minister? He is as thick as pig shit. I don't care about the colour of his skin. He's got in on identity policies, and so has Angela Rayner. Angela Rayner is a flipping. I mean, she's a bigger slut than someone else in my family, who I actually will be reasonably nice to and not name. She is a total slut. And again, she is a typical socialist megalomaniac. They've all got their properties. They're all good socialists. They love their property. As soon as Blair got in and all his little wankers, they started buying up the properties because Blair had told them what was going to happen to the price of property. So Angela Rayner, Ed Miliband. I mean, actually, one serious possibility is David Miliband comes back, stands as an MP. Because the Labour Party are not as stupid as the Conservatives, yeah? There could be a situation where David Miliband could come back, he could stand as an MP. I mean, he'd have to do it quickly. I mean, that would be dependent upon him winning a by-election. Good luck with that. But David Miliband is the more popular of the Miliband brothers. He could come back in. But I mean, I don't want any of these buggers. I want Kier Starmer to stay in. The reason is that the economy has got to get a lot worse before it gets any better. And then by then, reform needs to have a clear set of policies. If you end up with an election now, the next government is going to go down the same miserable line all the other governments have gone down. Liz Truss tried something. She tried something irresponsible. Boris Johnson, I mean, he was just a socialist. So what we need is a right-of-centre party. At the moment, I can't see one. The Conservative Party are saying that they're right-of-centre, but they're not. Reform are saying that they're a right-of-centre party, but they're not. And by right-of-centre, I mean a smaller government. And again, I'll give one other tick to Kier Starmer here. He tried to reduce the welfare bill, but then the lunatics on the other side of his party stopped him. Work it out, guys. Work it out. If Starmer goes, we are going to... If you think that Angela Rayner is going to be a good Prime Minister, then I don't know what you've been smoking, guys. Because if she or Miliband... I mean, Ed Miliband is just nuts. I mean, he'd have us all, we'd be drowning in owls by the end of the year. Do you know what I mean? He'd be like sort of, you got to rip your gas boiler out. I mean, he's a climate nut job. What will happen is if you end up with anyone other than Starmer, things will get really bad and they could do even more terminal damage to the economy. I mean, it's like if Rayner gets in, seriously, anyone with any sense will be leaving Britain. I've left Britain. I don't think I'm coming back. Quite frankly, I've got some personal emails to write soon. I'm still not sure whether the situation which happened in Hyde Park this time last year is not resulting in further action. If it is, I will go to another country and ask for asylum. That will be the straw that breaks the camel back. We use lawfare in this country. In Britain, they use lawfare. And it's going to get a lot worse. It's going to get a lot worse. So, in summary, unless Starmer stays in, that's probably about the best that can happen at the moment. An election now is going to lead to another government where the financial shit will hit the fan. At that point, the government collapses and we end up with a more radical version of the Labour Party, backed up by Corbyn, backed up by these sectarian parties. We just literally have no choice but to suffer under Starmer. If Starmer goes and we have another idiot, I mean, God, Andy Burnham talk. I mean, if you think Kier Starmer's a wanker, oh my God, Andy Burnham, I think, is the biggest wanker in Britain. And trust me, he's up against a lot of stiff competition there. If he had got in, there were people canvassing in the constituency of Gordon or whatever it is, and they were saying, oh yeah, we're reform, we're reform. Oh, but if Andy Burnham were the candidate, we'd vote for him. That's what I mean. There is no stable vote anymore. Thatcher got in on a programme of financial reform. We cannot have the government at 39 to 40% of GDP. Now, I don't even think either Bob the Elder or Bob the Younger could actually adequately tell me what GDP is. We have the government on our backs like we've never had before. One thing, and I would say something positive about Richard Inman before I basically go, is that we do need to go back to communities. You see, back in the day, when I was a kid, we could just go around doing what the heck we like. When we had a scout night hike, we were like firing rocket at each other in the forest. If you misbehaved at school, you got locked in the cupboard or whacked a bit. It never did us any harm. We need to go back to a government along the lines of what I've set out in my video last week. We need to sort our schools out. I'm sorry, it is a fact of life that some kids are thick as pig shit. It's just the way it is. And what Blair has done is by education, he's replaced it with indoctrination. The real positive is, I think, that if you look at the situation of Trump getting elected, the youth are not that stupid. The youth don't want this situation carrying on any longer. It's time for change, and I think I might actually join Reform. I'm told I can join remotely. I'm told I can attend. I should be able to attend local meetings remotely. It would be... I think Reform is the only way the country can dig itself out of this mess, if it can at all. I don't mean to sound pessimistic, and I'm sounding a bit smug, sat here in Eastern Europe, living the life, a bit cold. But, life is okay. It's just that sometimes life gets a bit, you get into a bit of a rut. You decide last minute to go and work overseas. It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Well, not quite. I mean, I know that like I say, if you may think I'm completely mad, and I'd be as guilty as charged. At least if things get really bad, I can just get a visa to go and visit India, ditch my passport. I'm sure all of India will love my little stunt. I can just work tutoring there, eat a bit of dosa, and I'll retire there. So anyway, thanks for listening. We need to keep Kier Starmer, because anything else is going to make matters 10 times worse. And by the way, Kier Starmer is a wanker.